battlefield. You asking questions like this, he's not gonna have time for. Imam stopped himself in the middle of the battlefield. He came to the person and he said, the very reason I am fighting this battle is to answer your question. He then said to him, when we say God is one, we do not mean one in number. We mean one, the absolute one that is indivisible and that there is no one like him. In another occasion, sixth Imam would highlight to us that when your son asks you, where is God? Or when did God come? Don't say to them, this is haram, don't ask me questions like this. No. Answer them, discuss with them about Tawheed. You've heard of Irshad Manji, the book, The Trouble with Islam. In Canada it was published. She says that the reason she went to the beliefs that she has was because there was a teacher in the madrasa called Mr. Kaki, if I'm not mistaken. And that when she would ask these types of questions, he would say, it's haram for you to ask these questions. Why is it haram? Where is God? Show me God. When did God come? Why can't we ask such questions? How does a son get to understanding Tawheed and Shirk without asking these questions? Luqman is in a dialogue. Amir al-Mu'min was asked, where is God? Amir al-Mu'min said, show me where he is. Where he is not, then I'll show you where he is. Where is God? Show me where he is not, I'll show you where he is. Find me a place on this earth where God is not there, and then I'll tell you where he is. Then he was asked, when did God come? He said, show me a time when he was not, and I'll show you when he came. Sixth Imam, an atheist, came to him. He said to him, you believe in your creator, the Khaliq? Sixth Imam said, yes. He said, I'm a Khaliq as well, like your creator. Sixth Imam said, how? He said, your creator, he comes forward and creates, and I can create. He said, how? He said, if I bring some mud, and under the right environment I will let worms grow. And when these worms become alive, I am the creator, like your God. Sixth Imam said, do that and bring them to me. So they bought it, and there were worms there. Sixth Imam said, you're their creator? He said, yes, I am. He said, can you tell me which of these worms is male and which one's female? He said, I don't know. He said, okay. Can you tell me the weight of each of your creation? He said, I don't know. He said, okay. Can you tell your worms they are traveling in one direction, order them as their creator to travel in another direction? He said, I can't. He said, then how can you be a creator when you don't know the sex of your creation, and you don't know the weight of your creation, and you don't know which direction your creation is heading? Ahlul Bayt would not reject a person, even if he was an atheist, if they wanted to come for a dialogue. Because Ahlul Bayt wanted to show that the basis of our belief is Tawheed, and this has to be instilled in the house. That's why when you look at Tawheed, Tawheed is divided into 5 areas. The first area, when you look at even Tawheed, there's 5 areas of Tawheed, there's 5 areas of Shirk. You have Tawheed in God's essence, Tawheed in God's actions, Tawheed in God's attributes, Tawheed in God's obedience, and Tawheed in God's worship. When we go in madrasa, do you know what we're taught? Tawheed means there's one God. Why? Because the children of Ahlul Bayt, their mind so little that they can only be taught one God, that's it. So I go from the age of 8 to 18 with the only teaching that I've been told about Tawheed is there's one God. Tawheed 5. Shirk therefore has 5 levels. That's why when people tell me why such a difference with the mushrik, the mushrik is not just what you think. The mushrik can be in many different spheres. There is a mushrik in God's essence, there is a mushrik in God's actions, there is a mushrik in God's attributes, there is a mushrik in God's obedience, and there is a mushrik in God's worship. Let me give you an example of how it works. Mushrik in God's essence. We believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be seen on the day of judgment. Or we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be made into an image. But are there other religions today which believe that God can be put into an image? Yes. For example, in God's attributes, we believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be put in a certain space, or Allah is not the subject of time. There are some religions which say God is our Father in heaven, and He's the Son, and He's the Holy Spirit. There are some, we believe God, no one shares in His power. Allah is the absolute Raziq. If He wants to, He may give out power, but absolute Raziq is who? Is Him. There are others who believe that the idol that they bow down to is the power giver. In obedience, some of us are willing to obey other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some of us obey our parents ahead of Allah. Our dad tells us, come to a gathering where there's music in a wedding and it's mixed. Why? Because it's your cousin's wedding. And if you miss your cousin's wedding, then you missing your cousin's wedding will be disgraceful to the family. Obedience to the parents. But obedience to Allah comes higher than obedience to the parents. Therefore, when your parents tell you come, you say no. I have to obey you on the basis that you take me towards Allah. You take me away from Allah, I can't obey you. Shirk and worship, shirk and tawheed in worshipping Allah, how does that come? You have a type of person who prays salah. He prays directly to Allah without putting any partners. Then you can perform shirk in salah. Even though you're praying in the way you do perfectly, shirk can still happen in salah. How? It can happen due to the fact that sometimes when our father walks into the room, or our mother, our salah suddenly becomes slower. You remember when we were young? If dad comes in, salah becomes slower. Dad's not there, we're like the Ferrari. Or sometimes if Maulana has come home, Maulana seeing us pray, we're praying very slow and with a beautiful voice. The next day, Salatul Dhuhr, it's back to usual. What have we done? We have done a minor shirk. Because what we've done is we've put Maulana or Dad alongside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not just praying to Allah. Even though we're saying Subhana Rabbi al-Azim wa bihamdih, we know someone's watching us, so our salah changes. That's called minor shirk. That's why, as a conclusion, in the time of Rasulullah, there was this man who was praying in the mosque. When he was praying, his prayer was beautiful. Very nice salah. And he was alone in the mosque. No one else was there. All of a sudden, he heard the door of the mosque move. So when he heard the door of the mosque move, he thought, Maulana must have walked in. So he started reciting salah very nicely. Beautiful. His dua and qunut went 5 minutes extra. He said, Maulana will be proud of me today. He finished salah, he turned around, and he saw that a stray animal had accidentally walked into the mosque, into the sun. He all that time thought Maulana had walked in, and his salah was geared for Maulana. And he turned around and this animal was just walking around. And it had opened the door of the mosque, and it had left. So it shows us that shirk does not only come on this level. Shirk comes on 5 different levels in Islam. And that's why we find it is the lowest of acts, because it is of the putting the partners to Allah. So when Luqman comes to his son, he says, وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. It is oppression. It is injustice when you commit shirk. Why? Because you are making the Creator the same as His creation. What's created has defects, is limited, can be seen, is in a place. You've all done Sifat al-Salbiyya and Subutiyya. We've all studied it at Madrasa. We say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be put in a place. Allah cannot be put in a certain time. Allah cannot be put in a certain framework. When a person commits shirk, when he puts a partner to Allah, he is saying that there is someone who is as equal as Allah, or is as limited as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the Quran said it's dhulm. Why? Because the meaning of the root of the meaning of the word dhulm is putting something in the wrong place. And therefore when you commit shirk, The reason Allah or Luqman said ظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ is because you have taken something from one place and put it in its wrong place. Be it the idol, you have moved an idol into becoming God, or be it you've made God the same as an idol. You have committed dhulm, for you have taken something from one place and put it in the wrong place. Inshallah, we will continue tomorrow with the next piece of advice about the parents and obedience towards one parent. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.